pack your bags because we're heading to Frigsville. Okay, today I am going to be ranking each bully ship based on my personal opinions of them. And this video idea was suggested by the inexperienced and inconsistent, where, in quote, they said, another wonderful upload talking about my bully fanfiction video. But one idea I have, I hope you haven't already done this because I'll look like an idiot, is one where you rank popular bully ships either on how much you like them or how much they're backed up by canon. I'm going to be going for the one that's my personal opinion because, I just value my opinion so much. But another thing before I actually start is I better be getting praised for that thumbnail because I don't have an actual art app. So the thing is that I did that in like the gallery draw. Like, when you take like an actual photo and it has like ways you can edit. I was doing that on gallery draw with my finger. So I better be getting praised for that, highly. This is you guys have to be glazing me like Kim Jong-un expects all of his citizens to do. Like, you better be crying at my funeral and, not doing any work. Doesn't even care if it was, your birthday or something. Okay, but, on to the actual video itself. So now we have Angie and Christy. Angie and Christy is going, I shall read a fic, perhaps two. Okay, I should have broken down all of the categories first, but my favorite, those are ones that I'm going to actively seek out. I shall read a fic, perhaps even two, is for ships that, when I see, I get, a slight happy feeling towards, but, not enough for me to, actively search for it. The green is, I don't care if they do it, but just not in front of me, which people, I hope, recognize is, the supposed ally for gay people saying, but, it's I don't care if they do it, but just not in front of me. The yellow one here is the, that's the ones where it's I'm gonna give it a little side-eye. I'm gonna give it a little judgment. I'm not going to, I'm still gonna partake in it because I am a multi-shipper, and for those who don't know, a multi-shipper is basically someone who will ship the same character with multiple people. Because a lot of people just have one character, one relationship, but I don't. But kind of gives me I'm not really gonna I'm gonna look at it a bit funny, but I probably still read stuff about it. But and the red here is don't come to my house, don't talk to me, deleted, blocked, and those are for ones that inspire a lot more intense negative emotions for me because I don't really I just don't rock with them. I paper with them, rock, paper, scissors. But those are ones that inspire stronger negative emotions. But back to the actual ship thing. So Angie and Christy, it's two girls blossoming in love, and that it's nice because this is friends to lovers type of development because Angie and Christy are friends in the game. They have the they have the little conversation together during the mission Panty Raid, and they also they're on the cheerleading team together, and it's very stereotypical for cheerleaders to be lesbians at this point. It's sports guys being gay, but I think this really fits into it. But there's not a lot that I could really see. It's it's just kind of good for them. Good for them. Next we have Angie and Pete. I'm gonna give it a I do not care if they do it, but just not in front of me. Because, I just low-key, I don't think Pete should be in a relationship with anyone. Because, Pete gives me, he's going to absolutely ruin it with his insecurity. Because, Pete needs to work on himself. Pete needs to start taking steroids. But, I think, kind of put it, because they're both, shy, kind of sweet. But, Angie, she needs, I think she deserves something a bit more adventurous, a bit more dangerous, if you will. Something more exciting. And, Pete's not gonna give that to her. He's gonna try. Pete Pete is going to like be the type of person who tries to do like an adventurous thing one time. Like he's gonna try sneaking out of his like house, but he lives on the second floor. So when he's trying to sneak out of his window, he just ends up falling onto the ground, and he has to be like hospitalized for a week. So I just don't think they'd really work. But I see like why people put them together. Ugh. This is more just because I hate Thad so much. Like, Thad is probably, he's an interesting character. I'll give you that. But I just really do not like Thad. He's a little bitch. And I still have not forgiven him for the mission, discretion assured, when he's like, ooh, who these posts? Oh, clearly someone who hates art. Shut up. Shut up, Mom. Silence from you. You're cut off from talking. That's how I think Thad would be treating his mom. But I think like Angie, you could do so much better. Oh, Beatrice and Lola. Beatrice and Lola is one of my favorites. Now, guys, I actually have a whole explanation on this because, there's actually a lot of parallels between both Beatrice and Lola, because in the universe of Bully, you can see that both, like, Beatrice and Lola are kind of like the outcasted girls because they're not really, like, widely accepted, and they're both, like, on the ends of Mandy's aggression. But, Beatrice is kind of, like, outcasted for, like, being quite, like, a nerd, like, being nerdy, kind of, like, not the best of looking, being a little academic. And Lola is, like, kind of, like, pushed around because, of her promiscuity. But, like, I think, like, that they could both bond. Like, I love exploring the ideas of both of them, like, bonding, of being outcasted, and then, like, learning from each other, because, Beatrice learns out to be more outgoing and, actually goes outside. I kind of think Beatrice would get burned by the sun really easily, but, imagine, like, Lola putting aloe vera on her sunburn. Like, that would be so cute. And, Lola gets to, like, I don't think, like, Lola is someone who craves attention, and Beatrice, like, she is, like, kind of an obsessive lover, because, she was writing fan fiction about Jimmy when he saved her notes, and, like, there's, like, full pornography in that diary. You cannot convince me that there is not, like, full smut in that. I'm glad I'm in the basement because, people can't hear me. But yeah, the thing is that, like, there's, the stuff in the basement makes noise, but so I'm kind of distracted by that. But, like, just imagine it. It would be so amazing. And, like, imagine Lola, like, being able to, like, find affection, but she, like, earns it honestly, and, like, she doesn't, like, have to strive, because Beatrice doesn't have, like, that much, like, social sway like Johnny or, like, some of the other guys she does. So, like, it kind of, like, puts her, like, more grounded, and she can learn to be a better person. Beatrice and Pete. Yeah, this is going the same of Angie and Pete, because, like, and I see why they do it, because a lot of people theorize that Pete has, like, a semi-crush on Beatrice because of the Orange tutorial after Save Algae, where it makes you go deliver a package for her. But, like, I think, like, Pete kind of gives me, like, vibes that he's, like, someone who, like, would end up getting a big ego and end up, like, trying to upgrade his girlfriend. And, like, I just think Beatrice doesn't deserve that. Beatrice and Pinky, I'm gonna give it, like, yeah, I do not care if they do it, but it's not in front of me. Because, like, I feel kind of funny about this, because every time that I've seen, like, Pinky and Beatrice, like, spawn together, Pinky is, like, always calling her, like, a stinky, nasty person. And, it's not, like, toxic Yuri in a fun way, or an interesting way. But, I think that, I think Pinky, like, she wants someone more adventurous, and, like, Beatrice, let's just say she's not adventurous. Like, she tries going on a hike, and she's gonna be hospitalized. Like, doesn't Beatrice kind of seem like the type of person who's gonna, like, end up, like, falling off a mountain? Well, she would never be on a mountain to fall off of, but, like, if she somehow ended off on a mountain, like, you could kind of just see it, like, rolling down, and it would be really sad. So, but I just kind of don't think they'd be compatible with each other, and like their dynamic isn't all that interesting for me to explore. Tom and Beatrice, I'm gonna give this an and the thing is I'm using like a ship thing from like tier list creator tiermaker.com, because like every low quality YouTuber has to make tierlist.com videos, but it's just using like a bunch of ships there. But I just don't really see the appeal. Like, I get it because Tom is kind of like the more like sensitive of the bullies, and he's the only one who seems to like show some regret for his actions. But like, I think like Beatrice would low-key like blow him up in his sleep, because Beatrice gives me like that seething internal rage, and like she kind of uses it to self-harm more so. But like I think Beatrice would like low-key blow up Tom, and it wouldn't be like all that nice, because like when people blow up, they leave like a lot of remains in a lot of places. So, but I just kind of don't see them working out, and I don't really. Oh, the thing is that Beatrice is kind of like the most shipped nerd, but I don't see like some of her ships here, like because I know there's one where it's because I'm a chronic online person, but I've seen like Beatrice paired with Darby and Biff, and I didn't see these, but those are kind of interesting because I think it's more because of how people who make them. But okay, moving on. Darby and Biff is going into one of my favorites, and it's not necessarily because of the things themselves, but it's because like the people who will like make content about them will be going into the most like psychoanalytical approaches possible, because it is very interesting, because the thing is that like both of them are kind of like they're extremely wealthy, and they're being expected to uphold their family's reputations, and like a lot of thing about the preppies is like having a bloodline or making a legacy. So it's very interesting like exploring the ideas of like them being together, because in most cases it's like in most cases it's impossible for them to have like biological children, and like it's very interesting to explore like the ideas of how like they would actually work as a relationship in regards to like the external pressures put on them, and it's like it's so fascinating. Biff and Peanut, I'm gonna give that I do not care if they do it, but just not in front of me, because I think both of them would try killing each other. Like they would not like find a bond, like, because both of them are opposed to like the others clique, one of like the most heavily compared among their groups, and like I think like them getting together, like it would just kind of be like a thing where it's like you're gonna hear it on like the afternoon news of like murder, homicide, like murders, like homicide, suicide in a small town. Like I just don't think, and it's not even like an interesting way, because I think there's like I just don't think their characters really work together. But I think like it's more fascinating if you explore them with like other characters from like the other like opposing cliques, because like it kind of, because like this kind of taps into the most the most like basic thing of two opposite people, like the Romeo and Juliet tale. But I just don't think that it would work for them, because like neither of them would be a pretty Juliet. Okay, Bryce and Chad. And Chad are going to. I shall read a fic, perhaps even two, because like there is more backing to them in the actual game, so it is like kind of fun to explore that, because in the mission Weed Killer there is cut content where it's talking about them wrestling being an innuendo for like gay sex. But I think it's very interesting, and I love Chad. I love Chad because Chad is such a cutie, and like I think people should love him more. But the thing is that like both of them are like, it's kind of interesting to explore, but I think like it's kind of hard to go in depth, because a lot of the spaces is kind of like Bryce lying to Chad, and I think like it's like I don't know how to explore many like different facets for that. That would be like in an interesting way. That would be like in both of their characters. And there's also the fact that like I like I think like both of them would be like better off like on that self improvement grind set. Like Bryce likes to act like a Sigma male, so it's kind of more funny to me at least to like put him in that sort of characterization. And Sigmas don't have soulmates. Bryce and Tom, I'm gonna give that a, cause I just kind of don't like. I don't really see them working out, and well, I see Bryce working out every time that I enter the glass jaw boxing gym, because he's going hard on that heavy bag. But I don't see like a really interesting exploration of this, because like I don't see them working out, and I don't see an interesting exploration of this. And those are like the two main things of the ship is like how fun is it to explore their dynamic, and how funny it is. And this doesn't really fit into either for me. Okay, next we have Bucky and Algie. I'm gonna give this a don't come to my house, don't talk to me, deleted, blocked, because like they're way too similar that it's kind of like, because yeah, they are very similar, because like both of them are extremely reliant on Jimmy, and they both kind of have like that nerdy but harmless demeanor to them, even though like Algie is a little bitch all the times. But the thing is that like I don't really okay, like Algie is really funny, but he's really funny by himself, and I feel like it's not all that fun to like explore him and like other dynamics for me, really, because like Algie's kind of a bad person if you haven't realized, because remember in the freaking beginning cutscene for Busting In Part 1, where Jimmy and Pete are talking and he comes by and like he just calls them losers for no reason. Like I think that kind of warranted him dying alone. And the thing is that like Bucky, like I don't really think that much about of Bucky in relationships, like besides Beatrice, because I think that like, because in the diary it's also kind of like hinted that Bucky might have like a minor crush on Beatrice, but she's really oblivious. And I also ship like Bucky with Jimmy, but it's like those are like the main two dynamics for Bucky for me. So like I kind of have a hard time imagining him elsewhere, and like I don't want to imagine him with the. Okay, just because Bucky has a pet rat doesn't mean he needs to be dating the rat that is Algie. Harrison Algernon, I'm gonna look so freaking stupid for like just after I just yapped about how much I hate Algie, but I'm gonna give this an I shall read a fic perhaps too, just because I find it funny. Like it is really funny because like both of these people are losers with women. Like Casey's trying to get it the whole year, and he also has an alcoholic father. Yeah, I felt the need to clarify it because I remember when I was like reading the character wiki, looking at his quotes to my friends, who I like. This is like the friend that I stayed with like at New Year's once, and this was after like I just gotten bullied. So I made her watch me play. I made her watch me play the entire game. Well, not the entire because I couldn't finish it in one time, but I made them watch me play the game. But like, and I was reading to, they found it so funny after I just said his father seems to be an alcoholic because of his chapter 1 dialogue code of like no, not chapter. I think it's chapter 2. It's like Mr. Galloway's been hitting the bottle again. He smells like my old man. But I just put it here because I think it's really freaking funny, and like I think people would be happier if they just did things for the lulz. Casey and Bo. I'm gonna put it. I don't care if they do it, but just not in front of me. And I think it's because I don't really have that heavy of an interest in either character, and like it's not like as funny as Casey and Algie. Like, because even if I don't like the characters, if I find it funny, I'm probably gonna like enjoy it. But it's like I just don't like have that much interest in either of them, so I don't really see it. Cornelius and Beatrice, like. I'm also gonna give it I don't care if they do it, but it's not in front of me, because like I don't think there's a lot of like one-on-one interactions that would be like compatible between these two, where I would like to see them in a romantic light. I'd rather see them in like the sort of like competitive light, because both of them are kissable by Jimmy, and both of them like are trying to be like high scoring academics. But I kind of also think of like I find it more interesting like them competing because Beatrice complains about having to take music and art classes, and it's like, who cares if your doctor is tone deaf? And Cornelius seems to be a bit more adept at them because like he is doing like good in English, and he's a part of the school's plays or theater productions, as he was the character of Juliet. So I like them together, but just not as like romantic partners. Cornelius and Kirby, I'm gonna give that in a I shall read a fic, perhaps even two, because it's just kind of funny, and like there's like the bully and bullied slash dynamic, and I think it would be good to compete with these because like these like it's a good thing to explore because in canon there isn't any interaction between these two like that it's canon, I believe. So it's like more up to like the person's interpretation of how serious you want to be, because like if you like ship something together but it's like like the canon they're like abusive, and it's like some people would be turned away from that, like I'm not, because like some like it's interesting to explore a lot of the times. But I think like it's just kind of funny, and they both like because I think it is because like Cornelius is one of the more like openly like bi of the like kissable boys, because he's like has the because Lefty gossips about him holding hands with another dude, and Kirby is like in the trunk, and I'm not saying in the closet because a trunk can lock, and I personally don't have closets that can lock. But yeah, I think that's funny. Cornelius and Pete, I'm gonna put that in the and I'm just kind of putting it here because like this ship seems like it would be like very heavily like pushing itself into like the like feminine gay man stereotypes a lot, because like both of these characters are like at least not by me, but I shouldn't let fandom open like be an influence on how I perceive it, but I just kind of believe that like both of these like characters are like overly feminized by a lot of people, and like I think it like by putting them together it would kind of like push that over feminization even stronger, so I just like don't really want to put them together. I'm gonna put this in the don't come to my house, don't talk to me, deleted, blocked, because I just really freaking hate Miss Danvers. Like and it's kind of pathetic. Like, girl, get up. But like some people might find like the longing thing funny, but like Dr. Crabblesnitch does not like really give a freak about her. If my memory serves correctly, like, or at least he doesn't acknowledge it. It's kind of like, girl, get up. So like I just find it like a little sad. So when I like read it, I'm kind of like when I see it, I'm a bit like upset for Miss Danvers' behalf, because it's like it's low key pathetic. I'm gonna put Mr. Crabblesnitch and like Mr. Galloway. I'm gonna put it at the bottom too, because like this is kind of like I'm a little upset because like Mr. Crabblesnitch has kind of a big op for Mr. Galloway, and like Mr. Galloway's been like suffering the entire year from alcoholism, and like I only really see him with Miss Phillips because it's like the the story and all, but I think like it's not really interesting as like this is what like they're trying to be Mr. Galloway x Mr. Hattrick, but they're not. Damon and Christy, I'm gonna give it I don't care if they do it, but just not in front of me, because Damon like I don't want Damon to have a girlfriend. Like, yeah, one of my favorite things to do in Bully is like the beginning of chapter 4. I'll have Damon chase me into like the preps, like into Harrington House, and I have Biff and Gord beat him up because they work so in sync and so well with each other in all my playthroughs. That is fun. But I get Biff to beat him up, and like and like because of that, like, Damon's been like really, really aggressive in game. So I just kind of don't want to see him happy. And like, Christy's too good for him. Like, look at that. Look at that face. That's like, she's so pretty. Like, this, but like, and I think she could do like so much better. Damon and Ted, I'm gonna give that an I shall read a fic perhaps too, but not because I like the relationship at all. Because like low-key, I think Damon would end up like killing Ted with like a chainsaw. But it's kind of like I like it in like a funny like they're gonna be abusive. Like, well, Ted's at least gonna be abused. Like, I don't see that as a healthy relationship. And I know, like, people like to say is like, oh, Damon's so obsessed with Tad. Not Tad, Ted. They needed more name diversity in Bully. But, like, Damon's so obsessed with Ted. But, like, Damon, like, the way it is portrayed, like, the way I see it, it's more jealousy. And, like, I think, like, Ted would not be saved by Damon. Like, but I would read a fic where like Damon hits Ted with a car. Dan and Ernest. I'm gonna put that as one of my favorites because it's so freaking funny. Because Dan has like the backstory of like being perceived as like a former nerd, and both of them seem to have like a lot of hate in their souls. So I think they could be haters together. And like the thing is that like. I remember there was like a post. It's like something happened between Dan and Ernest, and it was most definitely gay, and that's what I think of when I see it. But it's like it's such an intriguing dynamic for me to explore, because Dan, yeah, as a former nerd, like he kind of has baggage, and he seems to have like hatred for Ernest now, and it's like I kind of want to see like backstory time where that hatred came from, and like Ernest like. I think, like, Ernest needs someone who's not going to be nice to him if he ever gets into a relationship. Like, I think if Ernest finds someone, like, nice to him, it's just going to enable all of his bad behavior. So, like, he kind of, like, needs, like, like, someone a bit toxic like Dan is. And I think, like, they could be, like, toxic to each other. But it's going to be, like, chemistry time, but it's gonna be like mixing an extremely like basic and extremely like acidic thing, and you get like something pH neutral. Like their toxicity will balance each other out eventually. I'm thirsty. Okay, I'm not thirsty anymore. I took a little sip of water. But okay, so now we have Davis and Tom. I'm gonna put this in the. I don't care if they do it, but just not in front of me. And it's just kind of like because I low-key hate Davis a lot, and I just kind of feel like I'm continually like cock blocking Tom because like the 3 of the ships he's been in haven't even like passed like the upper levels. But it's like I just kind of like don't like it. Like I think Tom is someone who could kind of like be alone. I've seen one good relationship like that I like kind of the dynamic, but I'm not gonna put that. But we haven't encountered that yet. But I think like Davis and Tom wouldn't really work because Davis is one of the more like hardcore bullies of the group. Because he presumably might have been the one to bully Duncan to drop out of Bullworth. He's like bullying like actual babies. Because like the 12-year-olds, Pedro, and like I can't stand for that, but my buddy Pedro disrespect. Duncan and Davis, I'm gonna give this an I shall read a fic perhaps too, just because like this would be so unbelievably acidic, like you would like start dissolving if you even like touched it, but it's like it's so toxic because yeah, as I said. When I was talking about Davis and Tom, Davis is presumably the person who bullied Duncan out of Bullworth. And, like, I think it would kind of be, like, interesting to explore relationships. Like, how do you go up from there? Like, you guys, like, gotta start building a ladder, but you guys have nothing to build a ladder with, so you can't really build a ladder. But I think it would be extremely interesting to explore, like, see how it is. And, like, sometimes a thing just needs to be interesting for me to, like, give it, like, yeah, I'll consider it. Duncan and Gord, I'm gonna give this I Shall Read a Fig, perhaps two, because a lot of this stems between, like, the poor and rich type of dynamic, because, like, but the thing is that, like, Duncan kind of hates preppies, so I think, like, Gord wouldn't be, like, safe or be, like, truly loved and cherished like he should be. But I do find, like, kind of interesting, and I have read a couple fics about them. And, the thing is that I watched the movie Slumdog Millionaire because one of the fan fictions that was about these two was named Slumdog Millionaire, and I was like, oh, and that got me interested in watching the movie, and I ended up liking the movie. So I think that's retroactively making me, like, be more positive towards Duncan X Gord. But I just kind of think it would be funny. Ernest and Algie, I'm gonna give that as a like, it's just because I don't really see, like, them, like, fitting each other. Like, they're too freaky in too different of ways. Like, like, Algie is not ready to commit murder, but Ernest is ready to become a domestic terrorist. Like they don't really match each other, and, like, I don't think they really fit. I feel like I'm gonna put Ernest and Bucky in I don't care if they do it, but it's just not for me. Cause, like, Bucky's, like, a little bit. Bucky is actually, like, making, like, crafted weapons, and Ernest is using those. Cause, like, Bucky is the one who presumably designed the Spud gun. He's the one who's, like, making the bottle rockets, and, like, Ernest is kind of like us. Ernest is kind of, like, stealing all the attention for that. But, I think they would match each other's freakiness a lot more. But it's just kind of like I don't want to see Bucky dragged down, because it's kind of like tying your ankle to a cement block. Because, they're not. But Bucky's like a kid raised by his grandma. Like, and, from experience, like, they typically are a lot, like, nicer. But, maybe there's some evil people out there raised by grandparents. But, like, I think, like, Ernest would corrupt Bucky. Okay, Ernest and Darby is going into actually one of my favorites because it's incredibly funny to explore the idea. And I actually kind of have it because I have a headcanon, like, when you think about it, like, it's like, it actually works a lot more than you think. Because if you watch Making a Mark, you can kind of see that Darby and Ernest are working together to goad Jimmy into, like, making a fool of himself and eventually getting expelled. And both of them are kind of, like, power seeking, but it's just that Darby does it in his own, like, little clique, while Ernest is trying to, like, just become, like, overall more, like, well respected. Like, Ernest cares about the general public, but Darby doesn't. But the thing is that, like, it starts making a lot more sense. And if you think about it, like, it can kind of, like, fix a lot of questions on, like, why Darby doesn't allow Justin to, like, try and form an alliance with the jocks, or why, like, the preps are always in the library, like, why there's always a prep in the library studying. I could say that it's why is a Gord always in the library studying, because it's, like, almost always Gord. But I have seen, like, Pinky, Bryce, Tad, and Chad in there. I haven't seen Biff, though. So Biff doesn't read. But it, like, actually fits more. And, like, they're just, like, two evil people that can be evil together. And, like, that's a great thing to have. Ernest and Melvin, I'm gonna give that as I don't really care if they do it, but it's just not for me. Like, they are just, like, a way too similar to each other, and, like, too similar of a way that it's just kind of like messing around with the gender swap version of yourself, even though they're both boys. But, like, they're just kind of, like, way too similar that it's, like, not really, like, all that fun for me to explore their dynamics. I'm gonna put this in a dog top to my house, because low-key I think Gurney is, like, a grown adult man, and, like, Edgar is probably, like, at most like 18 or 19, and like that it just kind of feels like I'm gonna be setting up Edgar with a predator, like, and I don't want Edgar to get a. Well, Edgar would probably kill Gurney if he didn't like him, because there is that cut part of busting in part two where it's like showdown at the plants where it's like the content where he was gonna throw Jimmy in a vat of acid. But the thing is that I think that like Gurney is like too old to like be ethically shipped with any other character except like for the actual adults. Cause like I know like Leon he seems like a grown man, but he's like actually like under 18 because he's like, thank God I'm still a minor. But like Gurney I think is like an actual whole adult, and like that's a little scary to think about. Uh, Ethan and Tom, I'm gonna give that a. I don't care if they do it, but it's just not for me. But like this is probably one of the most positive feelings I have for one of these ships in this category, is because like both of them are kind of like losers. Actually, no, they're not losers, but they are like geeky because Ethan is like obsessed with martial arts, even though he's not good at martial arts, and like Ethan's probably gonna be the type of kid to be making you watch Dragon Ball Z clips on like that are like 240 pixels on his his iPhone 7, and like he's gonna be like insistently showing you that. And Tom likes horror movies and the such, and he like kind of has like a paranoid problem. So like I kind of see them like geeking out with each other in like a fun way. But I think it's just because I'm not all that interested in either of their characters to really like push it into like where I'm actually gonna want to read something about them. Okay, Galloway Hatching is giving I Shall Read a Fic, perhaps even two, because it's just so freaking funny. Like genuinely, like don't look. Hattrick was just a tsundere because he didn't want to admit that he liked Mr. Galloway, so he convinced him to institutionalize himself. Like, and he wasn't trying to ruin his career. He was just trying to make sure he wasn't an alcoholic in campus. And that's a very noble goal. I seem like a total Hattrick defender here, but like Mr. Hattrick was just a tsundere who just he just couldn't admit that he loved Mr. Galloway. But does Mr. Galloway love him back? No. So Mr. Hattrick needs to transform from a tsundere to a yandere and kill Miss Phillips. But I just put it here because I think it's funny. Mr. Galloway versus the hobo I'm gonna give it as a. I don't care if they do it if it's not in front of me. Just because I don't think the hobo I don't really like pairing the hobo with anyone else but Jimmy. Okay, I need to rephrase that. I don't like because I like kind of see the hobo as like a stand-in father figure for Jimmy, because just like Jimmy's actual father figure, he abandons him by getting abducted by aliens. But I don't really like seeing the hobo interact with like other adults or like any of the other students. Like the only like interaction, even if non-romantic, I like to explore with the hobo is with Jimmy. So I just kind of like don't care about this. Mr. Galloway and Miss Phillips. This I'm gonna give an I don't care if they do it just not in front of me. But and guys, this is gonna look so silly because I put Mr. Hattrick and Mr. Galloway above them. But it's just like I've been so satisfied by the in games like storyline for them that I'm like kind of done with them, and I don't really want to explore more because it's just like they are living like a good happily ever after, and I feel like if I kept writing more stories about them like they do with like DC Comics or Marvel, like it's just going to be introducing like another hardship for them to have to try and overcome, and it's just like I just want to let them rest. Can they rest? Can they perhaps nap? Maybe even a prolonged sleep? Let them get their REM rest. I'm thirsty again. Okay, now we have Gary and Ernest, and I'm gonna put that in one of my favorites. Because just like Ernest and Darby, it's like the worst people you know interacting with each other. And like and like it actually works because like Ernest is like so, but like he's so like he believes in Gary's plan. Because if you like look at a complete mayhem when you confront Ernest while he's in the gym, he's like, Gary's got a plan. Like, and it kind of explains why Ernest keeps turning on Jimmy despite everything Jimmy has done for him. And you can say that's like it's Gary's manipulation, but like why would he trust Gary? Because he's in love. And like I don't think Gary would love Ernest back, but it would be really funny. Like it. But I think people need to understand that we gotta do more things just because it's freaking funny. Gary and Chrissy, I shall read a fic, perhaps even two. And to explain this dynamic, because some of you might be like, Gary, like, I see the dynamic because, like, both Gary and Chrissy are, like, interested in rumors, while, Chrissy's more like, hee hee ha ha, while Gary is, like, trying to catch a defamation case. But, like, both of them are interested in rumors, and I read this one fanfiction on fanfiction.net, where it is, like, Gary and Chrissy are meeting, and it's to explain why Gary was at the corner of the girls' dorm after the mission Bitch, where we have to go get Beatrice's notes back if you don't have stink bombs. Because if you don't have stink bombs before that mission, you'll get a little mini cutscene with Gary, and it's like explaining why he was there in the first place. And it's because he was like going there to meet up Chrissy, but it's like both of them like gossip to each other, and it's so cute. It's a messed up version of Yaoi and Yuri, where it's one guy and one woman. Like, call it Yaori. Okay, Smopwolski is going into my favorites, and not because I actually like them as a relationship, because, like, I feel like eventually, like, in this three-way, like, someone is getting, like, Survivor Tribal Council voted out. But it's like this is such like a toxic dynamic, but it's toxic in like the funniest way possible. Cause like these people are not gonna get better when it's just the three of them. Like one of them is gonna drag like the other two down. And that one's probably gonna be Gary. But like it is so unbelievably horrendous in the funniest way imaginable. So I think that's why like I find it so funny. Cause yeah, like both of them would be like it would be like the worst. Oh, it's the worst three people formed a polycule, and I originally saw that meme with like Total Drama All Stars where it's Heather, Alejandro, and Mal. But I just want to see these people be worse with each other. Okay, Gary and Jimmy, I'm gonna give I shall read a fic perhaps too. Because, like, I'm not really interested in just the two of them because, like, in a romantic sense. Because, like, I do think it is just funnier that they, like, try and kill each other. And, like, I want to see them, like, beat each other up when they're both 30. Like, this is, like, a lifelong nemesis or hatred. And, hate and love are two sides of the same coin. But maybe Jimmy and Gary flipped the coin and it landed on its side. So they're not. I think it's better to not put them in a relationship, but give them like romantic tension at the most. Gary and Kirby, I'm gonna give I don't really care if they do it, just not in front of me, because I don't really see like either of them going after each other, because Kirby like kind of gives like the person who gets weirded out by like the most normal things, like most not popular, but most like mean people in school do, like basically he gets like weirded out by like anything, and like I don't think Gary would like find Kirby interesting enough to play with, or interact with, and it's just like I don't really see like anything happening. Gary and Lola are going into I shall read a fic perhaps too. But I love them together, just not as a relationship. But it is very funny because it's like both of them are like considered to be like kind of like a attention seeking. They want like they have like they're very manipulative together. But I think like it's not manipulative in a way that like kind of pulls them together. But the idea of exploring it is nice. Cause I also like the idea of like Lola and like Gary like try to manipulate each other and it just keeps failing. But like look how lovely Lola is. Look at that cute little nose. But like that's kind of why like they're very intriguing characters, and they have the potential to be intriguing together. So, don't hate me, guys, but I'm gonna put Gary XP as a "Don't come to my house, don't talk to me," deleted, blocked, because like this is just a really abusive relationship. But the only way like that I can really like epitomize my idea of how this relationship is if any of you guys have seen it, it's this one picture, one like drawn fan art picture of the like series Evangelion, where Shinji is rolled up, like is laying out on a chair, and he's throwing a beer bottle at Asuka and it's breaking across her forehead. Like that is the only way that I can really summarize how I view like what a potential Gary X Pete ship would be, and like I think Pete could do better. Okay, so now we have Jimmy X Algae. I'm gonna put that at a. I don't really care if they do it, but it's not in front of me. Just because, like, I see so many other possible relationships with Jimmy that, like, this one, like, comparatively, like, even though I might like it a lot more than a lot of the other ships up here, like, it just, like, there's so many other, like, interactions I could have with Jimmy before I'd ever want to, like, start looking for something with Algae. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, there's a lot of ships in Bully because there's a lot of characters. So, okay, now we have Jimmy X Angie. I'm gonna give this an. I don't care if they do it. It's just not for me because, like it is one of the like relationships in the game because Jimmy like has like the 15 kissables. But the thing is that like I love Angie. But I don't think that I love the relationship between, like, what her and Jimmy would look like because, like, I don't think that they would actually, like, fit or work together or, like, at least be, like, so, like, funny while they're together because, like, Angie does seem to be a bit irritated by the ideas of, like, violence and fighting, even though she does have, like, some, interest in boys because, remember, a lot of her, watching fight lines is, like, stop being idiots! Or like I don't think she'd like really find the fact that like Jimmy just kind of like attracts trouble everywhere. Like I don't think she could put up with that in the long run. So, Jimmy and Beatrice. So I am going to put that as a I shall read a fic, perhaps two, because Beatrice is one of my favorite ladies in the game. But the thing is that I don't really see their relationship like working out in like the long run. Because, like, Beatrice is kind of like, it is very sweet, but Beatrice does have a lot of, like, bias against people she views as stupid, and, like, she does have the line, like, at the end where it's, like, I think it might be the Chapter 5 or Chapter 6 gossip, where it's, like, maybe Jimmy was just a hidden genius, but I think, like, Beatrice would kind of, like, end up, like, being demeaning to Jimmy over time, and Jimmy would, like, does not kind of stand for that stuff. And so I just but I do find their dynamic like slightly interesting. So that's why I put it in. I shall read a fic, perhaps even two. Jimmy and Bucky are going in for like similar reasons to them, because like their dynamic is sweet, but I think they just kind of like get bored of each other or sick of each other, and it eventually would like fizzle out. Jimmy and Christy, I'm gonna put it. I shall read a fic, perhaps even two. Like, Jimmy just works well with a lot of characters, because Jimmy is, like, kind of, like, the more, basic side, but, like, I think Jimmy just, like, is, like, he's flexible, he's adaptable, so it is, like, nice to put him with a lot of characters, but I think, like Christy's like kind of already planning to like leave Jimmy after this. It's like try not to tell anyone about this. Is like I can't wait when I'm older when I can do that all the time. Yeah, Christy is very lovely, but I love her like at a distance. Okay, Jimmy and Cornelius is going to give a I shall read a fic, perhaps two, and it like a lot of this for the stuff that I don't like really love is going to be like very similar for like the Jimmy ships at least. But I think like it's very sweet because like in the game, I think Cornelius is probably one of the most positive characters in the entire game towards Jimmy because he has a lot of lines like praising Jimmy, and the thing is that he never has like a line I believe that's like straight up like insulting him. Like maybe he has a fallen Jimmy line, but his like chapter 6 gossip when like so many other characters are straight up like trash talking him, he's only like complaining about the state of the library, which it, like and he doesn't blame Jimmy for that. So that is very appreciated. And you know, I actually find their relationship really sweet. But like, because you know they have the little conversation in Wrong Part of Town, which is very cute, and they also have the interaction with in the big game when you're doing all the errands for the nerds, and like I find that actually very. So actually, I'm gonna move this up to one of my favorites, but like you know, it's just kind of like their like interaction is like, aw, so cute. Jimmy X Darby is I don't care if they do, but it's not just in it for me. And you know, would this relationship be funny? Yes. Would it work out? No. Cause like Loki in the game, I think Darby's trying to hire a hitman for Jimmy, but it's like they hate each other, but not in like the hate you so much I want to date you type of way. It's like no, like they're actually gonna like kill each other. Okay, so the next thing is Jimmy and Duncan. I'm gonna put that in. I don't care if they do it, just not in front of me. And like I think it's a lot because the townies overall don't have that much development in game, and you really get Duncan like extremely late in the game, so it's kind of hard to build. And he's not like very readily available. Like in most of the areas because he is really only like Blue Skies, but he does have some areas in like Bulworth Town and New Coventry, but you don't really see him all that much. But I like how you can like cosplay having a date with him by doing the go-kart Street Races 3, you know, with like Otto as a third wheel. Too bad go-karts need 4 wheels, so we probably should have gotten him a date too. But like it's just because like I think that like the Townies clique is so underdeveloped. I've never really like connected with any of the characters like besides you know like Zoe and Edgar because they have like cutscene importance, so you actually get to see them. And but yeah, Jimmy, save yourself. But I'm gonna give that as a I don't care if they do it. It's just not for me. Cause like Ernest is like a freaking rat. And it's even more insidious than Gary because like Jimmy seems to like quit like not realize that Ernest is a freaking rat because like really chapter 4 and Ernest is like the whole nerds clique betrays you and like you think Algie got up the will to muster himself to be the one to like because he was telling off Petey and Jimmy like no he needed someone else to help direct him and that person was probably Ernest and like Ernest is like a creep. And, like, I think, like, Ernest is just, like, going to have, like, Jimmy doing bad things because he doesn't want to risk getting caught. And it's not going to be, like, in a, like, funny haha way. It's going to, like, that's, you know, that you want to see them, like, kiss and make out. Okay, this, guys, don't judge me, but I'm going to put this in the ugh. And it's just because, Eunice is, like, low-key a pedophile. Because, like, why the flip? Like, what the what? What's she doing with Pedro in the freaking bathroom? Like, it's not even funny. It's just weird and it's creepy and like I don't like how people like sometimes hate Eunice just because she's fat because that's not really like a good reason. But like I don't really like her character because like of her being weird towards Pedro and like because this is the mission save Algie where you're having to help him piss. You know, oh, fanfiction idea. But, like, it's just kind of, like, creepy, and it kind of puts me off as Eunice as a character. So, and it's not like it's just in like a creepy and unsettling way, not in like a funny haha way with like like Gary literally like trying to kill Jimmy, or like Lola getting Johnny to like kill other people, because that's funny, but like going after 12-year-olds is not funny. I didn't want to create this before because I didn't want to spoil it, but I'm gonna show you guys my Jim Gord. Oh, I misspelled Gord. I hit the I instead of word. Where's the? Oh, oopsies! I forgot the cat. This should not be that hard, but I love Jim Gord. I love it. And guys, I have a whole brain, like I have a whole library shelf worth of my brain space explaining like why Jim Gord works and why it's like actually like a good ship, and it's like how it's actually viable in game because scroll up. But the thing is that like Jimmy and Gord like. The thing is about Jimmy isn't all that nice to Gord in game because you have where you steal his bike and movie tickets. You have where you can you have to beat him up in dishonorable fights. You have where you get him caught by Johnny with Lola, and you have like where Gord's like bitching at Jimmy. Yeah, that's the word I meant to use. But like in the Preppy's vandalized first cutscene. But the thing is that like Gord seems to have like no like leaning hatred afterwards, and he like seems to be the most open to the impoverished. And you can see that Jimmy is willing to put up like with a stuck-up attitude at first, because he does go like date like he goes out with Pinky after like she kind of ordered him around, and like I'm losing words because I'm just so happy. But the thing is that like Jimmy and Gord could work out because Jimmy also has like the like interest. Like I think I would have to do I can do a whole video explaining why Jimmy Gord's works, where I can actually like script out my ideas. But the thing is that like Jimmy is like willing to like open himself up to even more unconventional people, because you like see him, you can make out with Ms. Lisburn, Eunice, Trent, like a bunch of people at school. So like I think he would be open to Gord, and Gord inversely would be open to Jimmy, because like Gord, and there's also like the but the cut content from Mission the Rumble where Jimmy and Gord pair up. And like just because it's cut content doesn't mean I have to cut it away from my head. But like where they pair up, and there's also the fact that like Gord has lines where it's like praising Jimmy. It's like, I heard Jimmy took Johnny Vincent to school. I wish I was there to see it, as his chapter 4 gossip line. And he also has like the chapter 5 one. It's like, I heard Jimmy's about to do something fantastic. I'm not sure what it is, but it surely will be great. And there's also even the one where he kind of like backtalks Jimmy, like the chapter 6 gossip line, where it's like, Darby says Jimmy Hopkins is the worst thing since universal suffrage. He's not saying that Jimmy is the worst thing. He's saying Darby says Jimmy is the worst thing, which is not the same. And like it's like I want to see like I have a whole thing where it's like they become better people, and like I already have like in my mind Palace where like Jimmy makes up for all the stuff, and like so does Gord, like that they did it to each other. And I also have in like my mind Palace where like they're like literally married with 3 kids. Yeah. They have 1 son and then 2 twin daughters. They're adopted, by the way. They're not biological because they can't really do that. But like I named the son Thomas, so you can get Tommy as a nickname. Because I was thinking of Theodore, but I think Timmy and Jimmy is a little too on the nose. So, but Tommy and Jimmy, like that would be funny. But like I just truly love them so much, so much, and it's great. Oopsies. Jimmy X Johnny. I'm gonna put that as I shall read a fic perhaps too, because I have read a fic perhaps too, because I love. There's the one thing like that is like a post is like, how do I propose a Jimmy X Gord X Johnny X Lola polycule without seeming like the biblical levels of greed? But it's like I just kind of think that like any interactions between those four is funny. And like they're probably all at least gonna be like I shall read a fic, perhaps even two, because like it is really funny. But this is reminding me of the screw Lola, like not screw Lola, like but that's what it means. But the screw Bella meme of Twilight, where it's Edward and Jacob are embracing instead, and I think that's what their dynamic should be like. And they do have a lot of interactions because Johnny seems to be like good friends with Jimmy, or at least like sees him as. Because I actually have a headcanon where the thing is like when Vance tells Jimmy that like Johnny says you're no friend of ours is like actually like a lie on the Gracers, and like they're like trying to keep him away, like they're trying to keep Johnny away from other people for the time being in order to like trying to like in a misguided attempt to make sure he's gonna be mentally okay. Because remember, it's like Johnny has that line in Complete Mayhem is like you left us and then everything went bad. Like I think they would work. Jimmy X Kirby is I'm gonna put I shall read a fic, perhaps even two, because it's like it is funny, like not funny, but it is like interesting to explore like Kirby's dynamic of being closeted, and like one of the people he is attracted to is Jim. Like one of the people he does kiss is Jimmy, but it's just like I don't really see like those two like having a lot of character on character interactions where it's like really specific. Oh, this one I'm conflicted out because I love the Jimmy X Lola pairing, but I don't love it as a relationship. I love it as in like a messed up friendship of sorts, like where it's like they like because I'm gonna put this in the. I don't care if they do it for me, but don't take this as me hating the dynamic of Jimmy X Lola, because I love it so much, but I don't love it as a relationship, because I think like Lola just kind of like needs someone who's gonna be a friend to her, because like nobody like is actually friends with Lola, because as I was explaining like way earlier in the Beatrice X Lola thing that I did at like the beginning, it's like that like Lola like is a social pariah in like the school. And I think like it would be better like for her mental health to just have someone who's going to be like straight up and be a friend towards her, and like one of those people is Jimmy, because like even in game like Jimmy's not really taking all of what Lola says seriously, as evidenced by like the like we were standing up to her like in the Rumble. But like I just think that they would be better off like this is like the one time like a shipper is gonna say like let's just leave them friends. Jimmy and Mandy is going into the I don't care if they do it, but just not for me, for the exact same reason as Jimmy and Lola, because like I love them as a duo, but it's like I think Mandy just needs more like actual friends, because like Mandy is like she kind of rules on popularity and fear, but like because like people like to look at her, people like to be seen with her, but do people like her for being a person? No. And I think that they would work well as like friends, or like where like they shouldn't make out with each other, but they like should like make good conversation with each other. I'm gonna give Jimmy and Pete kind of the I don't care if they do it, just not for me, because like low-key I do not care about this relationship, because like this really is like I only see them as friends, and yeah. I feel a little weird because I'm like two of the most like popular ships of like I'm not putting that like one of the most popular ships in like the series. I'm not putting that high, but I don't think like Jimmy and Pete like really work as a like couple, because like I don't think that's like they would look like for the qualities of partner in each other, because like Pete's trying to reproduce. Like he wants to be a father, and like unfortunately I don't think Jimmy can have babies. But like there's nothing in the text that explicitly says he can't. But like I think like Jimmy wants someone who's, because Jimmy actually seems to be far more attracted to people who challenge him, such as like in game where like the two girls he goes on dates with,
who are Pinky and Zoe are like the two of the people who like will challenge him the most. And he also wants someone who's like very affectionate, because those two are also very affectionate, because Pinky like holds his hand during the carnival, and like Zoe and Jimmy are literally giving love declarations to each other. But like, and I just don't think that like they've like it, like I just don't like exploring. Jimmy and Pinky are going into they're not going there, but I just have to scroll up. But they're going into one of my favorites, because like they work so well and they have so much chemistry, and like in Movie Tickets and Carnival Date, not as much as I pursue between Jimmy and Gord, but like they have so much love and interaction with each other, and it is like I know like Pinky kind of like it's more like she romanticizes the idea of Jimmy being a poor person and may not be like fully interested in him like as his own individual. But I think that they can work, as they put it, like I think we can work past these class differences we have, because like they seem to have like genuine care for each other. At least Pinky does for Jimmy. And like Jimmy like seems to have like a bit of an interest in Pinky, and like I love Pinky as a character too. So she is like someone who I like to see, and someone who I like have a good time pairing with others. Okay, Jimmy and Russell I don't care if they do it, it's just not in front of me. And it's like for the same reasoning that I did Jimmy and Pete. It's like I really do just see them as friends. Like they don't really seem like they would like be able to satisfy each other in a prolonged relationship. I'm gonna give Jimmy and Trenton. I don't care if they do it; it's just not in front of me. Cause I think in game, like I think the only reason that people think Trent likes Jimmy is because they can kiss. But like a lot of the other stuff kind of implies that he doesn't, because a lot of his gossip lines are like against Jimmy, even after Jimmy earns the respect of the bullies. Because I remember his like chapter 2 gossip line. It talks about like I can't believe that like Jimmy Fellow beat up Russell, in a very like disdain filled way. And it's also his chapter 4 line, where it's like I saw that Jimmy play like Growls and Gremlins with those like nerds and losers, and like in a very disdainful way. But like like it is like kind of it is like nice to explore the dynamic. And like I think a lot of people are like more more receptive to it, because like for a lot of time like people thought like Trent was the only guy you could kiss in the game. So like that kind of like, or like what it was like one of the few, like because he was one of the more well known ones. So like that's kind of like why people are a lot more receptive to it. But like I actually kind of think like he's a bit of a hater. But maybe that's just Trent's personality. Jimmy and Vance are going to be in I Shall Read a Fic, perhaps even 2, just because I really like their like exploring them, and it is more of like it's something won't last, but it's something you're gonna have fun with while doing, and like sometimes that's enough. That's enough. Jimmy and Zoe, like I'm gonna put in I Shall Read a Fic, perhaps 2, and like. I feel bad because they are like the most canonical relationship of Jimmy's in the game, but the thing is that like both of them are like incredibly similar to each other, like so it is just kind of like like dating your gender bent clone, and like I find that like a little bit boring, because I like characters who have more of a contrast with each other, and they're not the same character, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm calling that them, but like because they're not. But the thing is that like the ways that they differ are ways that I think would push them further apart than ways that would like contrast against each other. Because like I know Zoe's into like reading and such, and she wants to go out into like a big city, and I think like Jimmy is like more satisfied in like the like a like small town, or like exploring that. So like those are like kind of like pushing against each other, and there's Zoe's backstory with Mr. Burton, and I think like if like Zoe was like fully aware of like kind of like the weird creepy stuff Jimmy did, like panty raid, paparazzi, even though he like tried to make up for it in Discretion Assured, like and like having like a I think she would find like a lot of that like really creepy and would like kind of be off put by that. But it's like they are like they do have a really good like interactions in canon. It's just that like they are like they're not like too fun to explore outside of that for me at least. Uh, Johnny and Biff are I'm gonna put in a I don't care if they do it, just not in front of me, because like this is kind of like the rich and poor contrast that a lot of the opposed like these are just kind of like the opposing clique relationships that people love to explore, but like if Johnny's gonna get with someone, I don't think it's gonna be Biff, because like people have a false conception that Biff is a lot nicer than he actually is. Because like Biff kind of wants to like be in charge, because he's like, one day I'll be king. And he also has like they have canonically like fought quite a bit, and like I just don't think that like if a relationship were to blossom, it should be between these two, because like yeah. Uh, Dirt Money is going to be put in I Shall Read a Fic perhaps too. And, I might be a hypocrite for, because I just talked about how I hated Johnny and Biff together. But the thing is that, like, this is funnier. Like, to me, it's like, funnier. But, seeing, like, Darby and Johnny, like, they're both leaders of their cliques. But it's kind of like, the concept of them having to balance, like, being leaders of their cliques, but, fighting their attraction for each other. And, like, I find that a lot more interesting, because both of them have a lot more to, like, lose, or, like, stronger reputations to uphold. So I think combining those factors, it makes it a really interesting dynamic to explore. Because, this just thought, but I think Johnny Vincent is a yandere. Like, he is actually, like, in the typical sense, like, he would be killing people for someone he loves, because, like, he tried killing some people for Lola, but, like, yandere ex tsundere, it would be so cute. Aw, so cute. Now, as I said earlier, I think any relationship of, like, the four between Johnny, Gord, Jimmy, and Lola are just objectively really freaking funny. But this is like the screw Lola. And it's just funny to explore. Like come on, like imagine Gord saying, "Come here, baby," and like they start making out furiously, and like like the entire Greaser clique just kind of has to awkwardly like watch and accept it, because they don't want to piss off Johnny, because like they love and respect him, but they don't like love and respect this decision all that much. Like, come on, because imagine like Lola would be like throwing like a glass jar onto the ground, and then she'd be scared to clean it up because she didn't want to risk getting cut. Oh, this is the most toxic relationship in the entire game, basically. But it's like a funny toxic. Well, actually not. Like, this is kind of an abusive relationship in the game. And abuse is not funny, unless you make a really funny joke about it. But the thing is that like Johnny and Lola, like they're so like mutually bad for each other that it is fun to watch like their implosion. And like that is good. Okay, Johnny and Mandy, like, my entire reaction to this relationship is, you go, girl. You go, girl. Because Mandy does display, like, intense attraction to Johnny in-game. Because she has so many lines, like, it's talking about, like, Johnny Vincent's kind of cute. I wonder why he's with that tramp, Lola. And, like, she's like fantasizing about him, and like if Johnny were to recover with someone, like I think like maybe Mandy wouldn't be the best option, but it would be like a good option, and it's like one to like that would be cute to explore. Gary and Zoe, I'm gonna put in the I don't really care if you do it, just actually I'm gonna give it the because like both of these people like would be like it's hate at first sight, and not in like a possibly romantic tension sort of way, but more in like and it's not even all that it's not even that much of a crack ship, but like don't let me yuck your yum, But like low key, like both of them would try hitting each other with cars, and then they just get into a car accident. And like I don't think, well, Gary probably has money, so maybe he would be fine. But like Zoe, like I don't think she'd be insured, so that would be really sad. But you know, like instead of them dating, imagine Zoe hitting Gary with with the go kart, because you know she's into of the go kart races. But like yeah, the street races, like instead of them dating, just imagine Zoe hitting Gary with a go kart. That's how I think of it. Johnny x Peanut x Lola is going to the I Shall Read a Fic, perhaps even two, because they're really funny in a really toxic way. Because like, this is like this is like when you like, this is the. I feel like the freaking video where it's like the kid is starting as like the when you. But what I want to say is that I believe a relationship between Johnny, Peanut, and Lola would be like significantly worse for everyone involved in like the most volcano erupting sort of way. Because is it dangerous? Yeah, but is it beautiful to watch? Absolutely. Because like Johnny has his issues of being possessive, obsessive, not really knowing how to like set boundaries or respect himself. Peanut also has the issue of being obsessive. He's kind of a doormat, like he's an enabler. And Lola is like someone who would not be like being reeled in on like things that she should be, or being called out for like behavior that's not appropriate. And like no, like because people are trying to act like by adding Peanut in it's gonna fix this relationship. No, it's not. But it's gonna make it funnier. So Johnny x Peanut is going to the I Shall Read a Fic, perhaps even two, because people have the misconception that Johnny and Peanut would be a healthier relationship, you know, better. And a lot of times people demonize Lola in this relationship. Do not demonize my lovely sweet. But the thing is that like this would not fix any of the core problems wrong with a relationship, because Peanut is like both of them would be like obsessive about each other, and not in like a cute way, like, you know, old people who are married, or like, you know, old people without teeth type of cute, or like, you know, baby elephants, because baby elephants are so cute. But the thing is that this would be like a baby elephant like accidentally stepping on your head and you dying because of it, because Johnny and Peanut are both obsessive, and like they don't really know. It's like Peanut absolutely adores Johnny, so Peanut would I think he would be like think he's going for the best interest of Johnny, but like the thing is that like he's just like supporting all of Johnny's decisions, even the ones that like are like bad for him. So it's like two drug addicts interacting. It's like that. Johnny x Pinky is gonna be the I don't care if they do it, just not in front of me, because, you know, I just don't really, I know people like, because like they want to see like, a lot of times with Johnny ships, it's just like they want to see him with someone other than Lola, and like Pinky has the interest in the poor, but like I don't think they'd be working, because like Pinky, like yeah, she would like want to be like respected, and she like might like the idea of being fought over, but like she'd find like Johnny like too needy, because Pinky gives me the idea of someone who has like one of those purse pets, like those purse puppies that aren't properly cared for. Like she doesn't want to put into like a lot of like work to actually make it like be healthy, and like it like you'd have to do a lot with Johnny to try and make it healthy. It's not something that would just like come. You know, 803 explicit tag. There can only be one transgender in this relationship, and like, you know, I'm joking, but you know, like Cornelius could do better. That's why I'm putting the because like Yuri and to explain my initial comment, like Yuri and Cornelius kind of have like obsessive things about like, or like out of the ordinary things about gender, just because yeah, it's like Cornelius is said to have played the role of Juliet, and Yuri has like the thing where he's like always talking about how manly is and how he'd never be a girl, holy repper. But the thing is that like they wouldn't be good for each other, and they don't have any common interest, any common ground, nothing that like of any similar character beats. And I just don't think it would be interesting for me to explore. Yuri and Lewis are gonna put in the I don't care if they do it, just not in front of me. Just because there is like the line where, like the question, like I think it's one of Yuri's like walking around lines, where it's like I wonder if Lewis would like to wrestle with me, or it's like I am beginning to question my relationship with Lewis, but Lewis doesn't have like a. I just don't really care about either of these characters, so it's not like I really want to like explore them with a lot of dynamics, but it's just like good for them. Good for them. Vander Taylor is getting put into it's not that, but I'm moving it up. But Vander Taylor is getting put into my favorite, and it's not even because I like the relationship, but it's just because of how funny all the content around it is about. Because there is this one person who likes it, and they've done so much for it. I'm going onto freaking Tenor for GIFs, and I'm seeing Vander Taylor stuff, and I just find all of the content around it so funny. Because Justin's trying to flirt with Bev, and is like, hey baby. I can't replicate a lisp because, well, maybe I could, but I can't replicate it right now. But the thing is that it's like, hey baby, and it's I think this would be the most cringe thing ever. It's like what, low-key, it's like two gotcha kids got into a relationship, but because imagine them making a Gotcha Life mini movie where it's them recreating their beginning of their relationship. That would be funny. But it's so funny to me. Justin X Hal, that's going into one. I shall read a fic, perhaps even two, and it is a crack ship, of course. But maybe it's a meth ship because it's a little bit more out there. Wait, which is worse, cocaine or meth? Oh, but it is a meth ship, I should say. But it's just that there's not a lot of as much content as Justin and Biff, where I think it would be funny enough to put it up there. But it's all this. Justin and Ted, Justin can get it. Justin can get it. And most of this is just one-sided, where it's Justin, because he has that little obsession with being part of the jocks, and but Ted kind of gives me a homophobic dude bro, and I don't think he'd like Justin. Because, even if Ted were gay, he would be going after, big macho men. And, unfortunately, Justin has a very, lithe figure. Very slender. And, I think, it's kind of it's watching a relationship where it's, you just kind of want to break them apart. Okay, as I said earlier, anything between, the whole four of them is funny. And, would this work out? Not really. But it is interesting to explore because, Lola, low-key doesn't care about Gord at all, but Gord has, Gord has, 3 times the amount of attraction to Lola than Lola does for him. So it's kind of funny exploring that. It's kind of interesting to explore those dynamics. Lola and Peanut is going to, I don't care if they do it, but just not in front of me. Because, I don't think people actually see this relationship working out, because Johnny would I think Johnny would actually kill himself if this happened, and both of them would feel so guilty about it. This reminded me of where I did read a fic where Johnny shot himself, but that had Vance in it instead. But the thing is that it would not be a very bueno time for anyone involved in it, because the Greaser clique would literally implode on itself. They are combining atoms. Pink leather. I'm gonna give that I'm gonna give that into the I shall read a fic perhaps too, just because it is really interesting. Because they are opposing cliques. That's a big appeal for a lot of people. But the thing is that like there's not like a lot of actual like chemistry like or things I could see working between them. But it is like funny to explore that dynamic because like of both of them like fighting like genuine because both of them seem to like want something genuine because like Lola has the thing about like she's rumored about wanting to become a nun. There's her freak show line where it's like sometimes I think we're all just freaks in the world because she does seem to have like some like she seems like to want to change but not knowing how to change. And Pinky wants to become more adventurous in the world, and maybe they could do that by like exploring each other's bodies. So Lucky and Lefty. I'm just gonna put that in the. I don't really care if they do it. It's just because I don't really give a fuck about Lefty. Not Lefty. I mean Lucky. I was looking at the wrong one. Actually, I don't care about either of them really. No, like R.I.P. if your favorite characters are one of them. But it's just like they're probably like some of the least interesting greasers to me. Cause I truly believe like I like every other greaser over them, so it's not like wow. I'm moving it up. Don't worry, I'm moving it up. I shall read a fic, perhaps even two, and that's just because Mandy and Beatrice like they have the thing of like toxic Yuri, and it's like you kind of want to see them like reconcile their like differences by heavily making out with Tongue. But the thing is that like Mandy like I don't like Mandy is like kind of mean to Beatrice and like in not like a fun way. It's like whatever, my pig ugly friend, I can do whatever I want here. It's like whatever Violet is like I've got to go torment Beatrice again. Like it's really funny seeing them together after you see like Beatrice kill Mandy in game when she like they're fighting and she spawns a bottle rocket launcher. Because Beatrice is the only like girl I think can actually like knock out her opponent because she can spawn weapons. Because like when girls fight each other, there's like a random chance of that happening in like the front of the girls' dorm. But when they fight each other, they only do like one hit before they run away. And it's the same thing when they fight Jimmy. But like she actually has the ability to knock out someone. But the thing is that like like I think Mandy just kind of needs to improve on herself a bit. Like they're fun to explore, but it's like it's kind of like I don't see it like them moving past like the past. So Mandy and Christy is gonna be like I don't care if they do it, it's just not in front of me because both of them are kind of like the meaner girls or like whatever, but like because I should move my because I'm just covering Christy's face and that's a beautiful face. I should not cover it. But the thing is that like Mandy and like Christy like they go together and like but the thing is that like none of them seem to really would like each other that much because like Mandy doesn't seem to really like a lot of like girls or like well she'll hang out with them but she doesn't seem to have like a lot of positive interactions with women. And like the thing is that like Christy has a rumor where it's like oh my god, did you see Mandy throwing up in the bathroom again? And like I just don't think you should be spreading that sort of rumor about like a potential partner. Mandy and Damon is gonna give me the because like the way I see it, like Damon only would be like going after Mandy because like of the false notion that Mandy is like Ted's girl and it's getting over on him because like I also remember one thing where it's like all she needs is a tackle and a slot back. Good thing I was the first. And like there is no girl that's specifically mentioned, but this might be in reference to Mandy. And like that sort of dude bro talk is not tolerated here. Mandy and Lola, Mandy and Lola are gonna give the I don't care if they do it, just not in front of me, because it's kind of similar to the Mandy and Beatrice, where it's like they don't like each other, but it's not like, but they don't have like a lot of in-game interaction too, like or cutscenes that really puts them together, and it just kind of seems like Mandy would be like judgmental of like all of Lola's decisions, and like that would be not very good or nice. Mandy and Pinky are also gonna give me the cause like there's one gossip line where Mandy is like calling Pinky fat, and that gossip line actually inspired me for a whole 2 weeks to always knock out Mandy when I saw her, cause nobody calls my princess fat. But that just kind of was that just kind of peeved me off, and that kind of puts me off on the relationship.
Okay, so now we have Mandy and Ted up here. I'm just gonna give that of I don't really care if they do it. It's just not in front of me, because I don't really ever see this relationship being of substance. It's kind of basic. The only times I actually ever see this is pre-backstory before Mandy x Zoe stuff. But it is just more of a convenience of the plot, because they're only really together because cheerleader and football captains together and dating, but I don't really actually see them working out as a relationship. So Mandy and Zoe, that's gonna go in the I'm gonna put that in my favorites, because this is angst, because it's don't pretend, Mandy, I know what you're like, where it's no, this is cut content from Complete Mayhem, where it's the girls were actually supposed to be fighting each other, and it's Mandy and Zoe against each other, where Mandy's I can't believe I was ever your friend, and Zoe's don't pretend, Mandy, I know what you're like. And it's just kind of interesting to explore the dynamic of what it would have been before they would have split apart as friends, and what it's to get by after. And it's it puts Mandy and a bunch of away from other characters that because Zoe would actually be able to match up to Mandy, or at least they could compete against each other. There's not a big social power dynamic imbalance, or a lot of stereotyping towards it. And it's very, very nice to explore, and it's good to see Mandy happy. Cause Mandy, I thought of Sad Girl Mandy, and then I thought of the emo Bart Simpson edits. So maybe I'll make a emo Mandy Simpson edits. But it's just kind of a very I want to see them do better together. Okay, we have Peanut and Darby. I'm just gonna give that a I don't care if they do it, it's just not in front of me. Cause I just kind of don't like Peanut, because the thing is that a lot of times I'm actually playing the beginning of the chapter 4, so a lot of times I hear Peanut is I gotta teach that hero Jimmy a lesson, so I just have kind of taken up as an invite to beat him up. And I still remember one time, unprompted, he threw a firecracker at Angie, and that really peeved me off. So I'm just kind of I've wished the worst for Peanut for a long while. But, I think I wouldn't wish him this much worse, where he's with Darby. Because, being with Darby's got to be low-key insufferable. You have to be a special, you've got to train a freaking Marine in order to be around Darby for 5 hours without true Darby, not Darby when he's putting on a face, because he does kind of put on a facade to make himself look better, but being around true the true Darby for 5 hours unprotected, that's got to be some sort of carcinogen in California. Peanut and Pinky, I don't care if they do it, it's just not in front of me. Just because, I don't think, Pinky would ever go for Peanuts. Peanut might try and, hit her up. Because, there's the, Pinky, call me, sort of vandalism. And you can see that in both, it was supposed to, I think it's what is, supposed to be the vandalism for when, Johnny, Peanut, and Hal are vandalizing the girls' dorm during complete mayhem. And there's also that sort of vandalism by like the chemo, the chemo plant. But like I don't think Pinkie would ever accept, and like she just kind of be like low-key disgusted. So, okay, next we have Peanut and Tad, and I'm actually gonna put this in. I shall read a fic perhaps too, because I've had it pointed out to me, but there's a lot of narrative similarities between Peanut and Tad, because like both are kind of like they're like the second people in the clique, despite, you know, being like Biff being like the actual second in command of the prep clique. But like both of them are like trying to like be powerful, and they're trying to live up to impress like a man they perceive like that they value. For Peanut, that is Johnny, and for Tad, that's his father. And it's both of them have like a lot of pressure and insecurity behind them. So I see them like they do have like quite a bit of parallels as a character. But you know, the thing is that like I think like Tad, like being with Tad is like kind of being with like the like worst person you know. Like, well, actually, like everyone in Bully is like one of the worst people you have ever met in your life type of people. But like I just kind of, but also there's a thing where it's like, you know, Tad has like the little like rivalry with Peanut. Like it's like when I get through with you'll see that Peanut isn't a tough nut to crack. And I was like, that nerd Thad hit Peanut over the head with a yardstick, and he didn't even do anything about it. How's my Tad impression going? But you know, it's just like I see the dynamic. It's just I don't really care for the dynamic. Okay, now we have Parker and Pinkie. I'm gonna give that cause like Parker, like I'm kind of scared of putting any female with Parker, cause Parker like doesn't know how to behave himself, and like if he was to be placed with anyone, like they're kind of have to like give him like training for it. And you know, that's got like a lot of responsibility to do, cause like Parker is like so freaking lonely, and like he doesn't really know how to like interact with like anyone, cause he wants friends, but cause he's a friendless person. But well, he actually has like he has people around him, but he doesn't think of them as like actual friends. But yeah, I just kind of like I don't want to put anyone with Parker really. Like I actually have one ship with Parker. Well, actually 2 ships, but I don't think either of them here. So, like, after I'm done with, like, the main things, I'm going to talk about some ships that I didn't see on here that, like, I care for. But, you know, and, you know, like, I don't think, Parker or Tad would treat each other right. And, like, you know, they are better as friends. Because, like, you know, the thing is that, like, both of them, like, are kind of, like, craving attention and affection. But, like, they need a supplier instead of, like, someone who wants to be supplied. I hate Miss Peters so fucking much. Like, when she does that freaking Nutcracker thing, like, that peeved me off the first time I saw it. Like, and, you know, like, I just don't see Miss Peters having any happiness. So I'm not gonna put her with the absolute, well, Miss Phillips is kind of like, she's got her own problems, but, you know, I'm not going to put her with, like, the absolute, like, darling that is Miss Phillips. Ricky and Hal, I'm going to put them in the, I do not care for it, just don't do it in front of me, because, you know, they are actually, like, they're like the few greasers who are, like, they have a bunch of, like, their cutscenes similar to each other, but it's just that, like, they don't have any, like, actual, like, character similarities that I see that would make me want to put them together in a relationship. Russell and Pete, I'm gonna put that in the, like, I don't care if they do it, just not in front of me, because, like, Russell is, like, a character I like seeing solo. I don't really ship him with anyone, really. Like, maybe Mandy, because of the, like, line is, like, Mandy showed me her belly button, but I think, like, you know, Mandy gives the vibes of someone who, like, bullies disabled kids. Like, hey, aren't we friends? Or, like, that sort of stuff. Like, and, like, she fakes being friends with them. So, you know, that's her sort of vibes. But, like, I just really don't see Russell with anyone. So, like, I'm not going to put, like, any ship with Russell up really high. Ted and Darby, I'm going to give that an, Cause like I think Darby would think that like Ted's like needs like a mental evaluation. Cause like Ted's like dumb. Not actually, to be mean, he is dumb. And like Darby would find that like so freaking stupid. And like Ted would low-key be calling like Darby homophobic slurs if they were dating. Like he would be like, look, I'm gay, but at least I'm not a freaking queer. Like it's going to Darby and the such. Ted and Ernest, I'm actually gonna put that I will read a figure too, and it's literally like the freaking same dynamic of Darby and and Ted, but it's like they do it in like such opposite ways. It's like they, and I have seen like explorations of it, but I think like they're so opposites that they like epitomize the antagonizing dynamics even more so it makes it actually like a more interesting dynamic. You know, let's have an even worse car crash on our hands. But like they would do it in such an interesting sort of way that I would just be like, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would be interested about it. Oh my gosh, there's only so few left. I'm so happy because I've been talking for a while. I've only had like a couple of drink breaks. But here we have Thad and Bucky, and I'm gonna put that in the because like as I've stated before, I do not like Thad a lot, and I don't want to see Thad happy. I actually kind of want to see Thad like losing hit both his like arms and a leg, so I could then call him Lollipop Boy, because he would look like a lollipop, and like I just don't want him to be happy. Trent and Cornelius is going on the because like Cornelius, you could do so much better. And like people will ship it because like both of them have the theater things, bully, ex-bullied and the stuff. But like it's like like I don't like it straight up doesn't work. Like it wouldn't work. And like it's like Cornelius, you could do so much better. Trent and Ethan, I'm gonna give the I don't care if they do it, just not in front of me, cause like they are both like they're both kind of like a more geeky, cause Trent is likes photography, supposedly manga, and he's a yo-yo enthusiast. Yeah, because and like and where I got that information from is that like as a promo for Bully, they're like on Facebook they did like a couple of pages about the characters where it's like biographies, and for the nerds, like not the nerds, the bullies, they did the one for Trent, and it's where we actually like learn his his last name, Trent Northwick, originally, and it would be like further confirmed through like the soundboard. But the thing is that like Trent and like Ethan, like I just kind of like they're just kind of like too similar for me. Like I don't really see them like having a good like contrast, which would be interesting. Now we're here for the most like basic like one of the most basic ships, but I'm actually gonna put that in the I'm actually gonna put that in one of my favorites, just because like it's so intriguing to explore, because like they do have like some canon interactions due to like the movie tickets date, but the thing is that they're like so interesting to explore as just like characters put together, because Kirby is like very insecure about himself, and like Trent seems to have like a bit more confidence, be a bit more out there, like he's kind of willing to embarrass himself, or he might not realize he's embarrassing himself, but he definitely is embarrassing himself a lot more. And like both of them try to have like the similar swagger types, like both of them try to have that charisma, but like they do it in like different ways, which it makes it seem that like so they're not so similar. And it's kind of exploring, because like both of them kind of want to be like stars, but in their own different ways, because Trent wants to become an actor and Kirby wants to go into football, and it's kind of like interesting exploring their dynamics, especially like because of like Kirby's shame and Trent's openness, and like it leads like a way for like a very good like storytelling. Next we have Trent and Tom. This is probably, Tom's finally getting late, like getting it, because this is the only like Tom thing I think I've put up at the green. But this isn't. I shall read a fic, perhaps two, because the thing is that like Tom kind of has this reserved nature about him, and Trent's a lot more outgoing. So it's kind of like Trent is like he's far more interested in like being like a full on bully than Tom is, because Tom like has like some regret towards his actions. So it's kind of like interesting, like, but they're not like completely opposites. And like it's interesting putting them together just to like kind of like have Trent like bring Tom out of his shell, or like Tom trying to make sure that Trent doesn't do anything too bad that he's going to be condemned to hell. So like yeah. Troy X Davis, I'm just gonna put this on I don't care if they do it, but it's just not for me, just because like I don't really care about either of them. Like people will like, actually this isn't about people, this is about me and my opinion, and like I just don't want to see like any of these, like I just don't want to see Davis happy, really. And like I don't think like I think Troy just kind of like needs to work on himself, or he needs to have some self-discovery. Same thing is going to apply for Troy and Hal. Don't really have anything to say about it, just don't care in either way. Same thing's going to be said for Troy and Peanut. Don't have like any opinion on them. Troy and Russell, I'm also going to put this in I don't care if they do it, it's just not for me. Because again, I don't really care about Troy, but he does have a crush on Russell in game, or at least like what seems to be a crush. Because like he has like lines admiring Russell as like, I wish my muscles were big as Russell, as like look at his like biceps and such, or his delts. And it's like an admiration thing, but I don't like, as I said, like Russell is like a solo character for me, and it's like I just don't like, I don't like, this isn't like Peanut and Johnny, where like the admiration is so toxic it ends up becoming interesting. Like like it just doesn't have anything for me. Vance and Gord, I'm actually gonna I'm gonna put them up. I'm gonna put them up there. Vance and Gord are actually one of my favorites, and the thing is like opposites attract, but it's very funny trying to see like people try to have justifications and workarounds for like how like this actually ends up happening, because like a lot of the greasers hates Gord after he was with Lola, so it's very like intriguing to see people trying to address that. It's also like it's kind of like both of them would like have like a sort of shame towards each other, but like they kind of like would end up matching each other, because the thing is that like they're a lot more similar to the opposite cliques of their own than people realize, because like Vance seems to have a lot of like concern about his appearance, because a lot of his lines are in relation to how his hair looks, or like calling himself like a total knockout, like, and both of them pride on being successful with women. And the thing is that like Gord, he seems to be like, he has a lot of the more like bike races. He has the proven interest in poor people, and like it's kind of like just seeing like how that works, but it's not anything like too unique to specifically them. Wade and Davis, like that's just gonna put in like, I do not care if they do it, just not in front of me, because like I just don't really care about a lot of the bullies. Like, I'm sorry. They're not, I care about them as characters, and I know a lot about them as characters. But the thing is that, like, Wade and Davis, like, I actually have read quite a couple of fics about them, where it's like they're trying to explore through the anger. But I think, like, in game, none of them would have, like, the idea or, like, the emotional maturity to try and work for it. So it's like I kind of have to suspend my disbelief. But, maybe the disbelief is being suspended on a faulty bungee cord, and it's gonna fall to the ground and die. Like, I can't. Wade and Constantinos, I'm gonna give that a cause like Constantinos I don't really see getting with anyone. I have a whole theory about Constantinos and Christy dating, but like, should they be dating? Probably not. But like I don't really like, I think Constantinos, like, if he got into this relationship, like, he would not get out of it, because, like, he would end up killing himself. okay, like I think many things are gonna lead to Constantinos killing himself eventually, but like let's have it not be this relationship. Wade and Tom, I'm actually gonna put in the like not for me stuff because like I don't care if they do it, it's just not for me because like the thing is that they do have like the opposing things where it's like it's interesting to work because Wade is like has like a bunch of anger issues and Tom has issues with paranoia and it's like seeing them like try to like resolve those issues like helping each other like that's very interesting but like also like I think Wade's the type of person who like he was not going to take like his friend's paranoia seriously or in this case boyfriend's and like he's going to be like hiding like humanoid objects around the house and like Tom's going to go crazy and not in like the dark way but he's like going to become like not extremely like scared. Okay, Zoe and Lola, like let's hit it up. Zoe and Lola are actually going the I Shall Read a Fic or Two. And like if you see it, both of them have matching tattoos, and both of them are kind of like they're both like opponents of Mandy, and like both of them seem to be like a very like they're more explorative, more rebellious, and more free spirited. And like I see this like them working together a lot, but it's just like like I just don't think about them that much, but I see why like they would work. Okay, now we have Zoe, our last. And unfortunately not the best, but our last ship of Zoe and Pinky, and I'm gonna put that up, and like I shall read a fic, perhaps two, because this kind of works like I remember one thing like where it's like an edit where it's like Pinky's saying shh the art kid is coming and Zoe's right behind her, but it's kind of like I feel like they would kind of like nip at each other in like a funny way. And like Pinky is like exploring like her adoration of poverty and like Zoe's probably gonna be stealing her wallet and like her car, but like it's gonna be in a fun way. But this wraps up my ranking bully ships. I'll slowly scroll down so like people can see where I've placed everything at the end. But this is probably gonna be one of my longest videos because I felt like I was talking for a lot. But in conclusion, like I think that like in conclusion, like, love is love, and don't let any of my opinions here like diminish your opinions on like a ship you like, because like I am just one person. This is reminding me of like a little funny story where when I was in my psychology class, we got at like there was a question of would you date someone with 23 personalities, and I was the only person who said yes because I said that if I couldn't find a personality out of 23 that I liked enough to want to date, then like that's kind of my issue, and like I think I'm the problem there. But as I said, I am only like one person with one personality, only one opinion on it. So like I hope you guys enjoyed the video. But that is all.